Hey, did you know that the Kellogg's summer football camps are in full motion and you can claim a free day? All you've got to do is head to www.kelloggsfc.com and enter the code 7349. Terms and conditions apply, subject to availability. Darren Rees. In this episode, we're going to be speaking about a player who almost called it a day with football. A player who faced rejection but made his way through and ended up playing for Bournemouth in the Premier League and for Ghana on one of the biggest stages of them all. Yes, of course, in this episode, we're going to be speaking about the Bournemouth goal-scoring machine, Antoine Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo was born on the 7th of January in the year 2000. He was born in Chelsea, England, not a million miles away from Stamford Bridge, a place where he scored a thunderous goal earlier this year. Semenyo was born into a family where football was important. His Ghanaian dad, Larry, was a professional footballer himself, and it's reported that he played in the Ghanaian top division for quite some time as a midfielder. So football was running through Antoine Semenyo's blood from the moment he was born. As I mentioned earlier, Semenyo was born in Chelsea, London, and it was in England and in London where he grew up with his brother Jay, who is also a footballer. Anyway, rewind a bit, because Semenyo has said he wasn't always mad about football. He's not always loved it like he loves it today. He used to go to his local park with his dad and they would kick the ball about. But, as he said, initially he wasn't mad for it. He was more attracted to sports like basketball. But it said that as time went by, he became more and more interested and more passionate about the beautiful game of football. Semenyo has memories of watching tournaments on the television, like the Africa Cup of Nations, where he watched the likes of the great Didier Drogba and cheered on his dad's team of Ghana. These little moments of watching the football on the television and watching tournaments like the Africa Cup of Nations, which were deeply connected to him and his roots, had a big impact. But maybe he didn't realise it at the time. Antoine Semenyo did what all kids do. He practiced, and my goodness did he practice. He played with friends and family, and he played in local teams. Over a period of time, he really tried his hands at playing at some of the bigger clubs. He had trials at top teams in London and at top teams in the southeast of England. He went for trials at the likes of Arsenal, Millwall, Reading, Tottenham and Crystal Palace. However, it didn't work out for him at these places. The rejection hurt, and Semenyo remembers the pain and that feeling of getting rejected over and over again. He remembers being in tears, crying to his dad with frustration, and those moments where his belief got hit over and over again. These were tough times. It was at this time when he decided he would take a break from football, a time where he could have turned his back on football forever. Something which has always been important to Semenyo and his family and his friends that surround him is his faith. It's something which has helped him through his toughest times and been important for him to focus on and becoming the best version of himself. In his year away from football, Semenyo was studying sports science, where he would eventually cross paths with a man called Dave Hockaday. The adults listening to this and the older folk listening to this may remember him for being a stocky midfielder and also being the Leeds United manager at one point. Anyway, before I go off on a tangent, which I'm pretty famous for, it was through Dave Hockaday that Semenyo would eventually end up getting into Bristol City Football Club. Yes, a lower division and calibre from the likes of Arsenal, Spurs and Palace, where he was trialling before, but not to be knocked back. Semenyo wanted to play football, and this was a massive opportunity at a championship club. However, it wasn't like he just signed up, got taken on and was stuck straight into the first team playing championship football. No. He had to go out on loan to places like Bath City and National League Southside, Sunderland, who were in League One, and Newport County, who were in League Two. Eventually, he would become a proper championship player. A championship player who played over 50 games a season for a proper championship club and scored great goals in the process as well. When he was on loan at some of these places I previously mentioned, he had to dig deep and not let anything get in the way of his belief. He had to keep believing that he was going to get to the place where he knew he could and become a championship regular starting 11. Trust me, and if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you would have worked it out. Nothing in life goes smoothly all the time, but with hard work, with determination and grit, and really importantly, believing in yourself, you will most certainly make progress. On the 27th of January 2023, 20 days after Semenyo's 23rd birthday, those moments of rejection, those spells of being on loan and being pushed around on a non-league pitch, they all became worth it when he was signed as a multi-million-pound player to Premier League club Bournemouth. Oh, and remember what we said about Semenyo watching the Africa Cup of Nations on the television as a young man? Well, from watching Ghana on the TV in those tournaments, he has gone on to play for Ghana 27 times as a senior player, wearing that shirt with pride. In fact, he was even part of a squad for the Qatar 2022 World Cup tournament. That is an unbelievable achievement. Antoine Semenyo has become a Bournemouth favourite and quite the player. He seems to be able to score the goals a team when they need them most. He's that player who scores the equalisers out of nowhere and scores winners with both feet like nobody's watching. He has a hugely positive impact whenever he's on the pitch. He's become a Cherries favourite, not only with the fans, but with his teammates and everybody involved with the club. But let me tell you, we're going to end with this. On the 15th of August 2025, something very sad happened to Antoine Semenyo. While he was playing football at Anfield and scoring some cracking goals, he was a target of racial abuse. That means that somebody shouted horrible things at him simply because of the colour of his skin. Let's be clear, this is never okay. Not in football, not in life, not anywhere. Think about it. Antoine has worked so hard chasing his dreams. He's gone from playing in the park with his dad to being rejected by big clubs to nearly giving up. And now he's scoring goals on the biggest stage in the Premier League and playing at the World Cup. That is amazing. That's what football should be about. Hard work, joy and inspiration. So when someone tries to bring him down with hate, it doesn't just hurt him, it hurts the game that we all love. Football isn't just supposed to be for everyone, it is for everyone. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like or the colour of your skin. Everyone belongs on the pitch, in the stands and in the story of the game. So here's the message. If you ever see racism or hear it or feel it, know that it is wrong. Speak up, be brave, be kind, because the strongest teams in the world are the ones that are made up of all kinds of people working together. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitchside, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.
Podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.